Hello, everyone, and welcome to this interview episode about the international college application process. Today, I'm so excited to have Darius Jonathan Teng with me. He is a freshly graduated SMAK Penabur GS student who, by the time this episode is up, will be currently studying in the University of Toronto. If you're considering studying in Canada or even anywhere else abroad, this is the perfect opportunity to gain valuable insights into the college application process that can be very stressful. And this episode wouldn't only be helpful for 12th graders, but also for literally anyone in ninth to 11th grade as well, because the admissions process is very holistic and looks at these few years of your life, so you would want to start as early as possible. So let's dive in and learn more about his journey. Hello, Darius. Thank you for joining us today to discuss your college application process and also your decision to study in Canada as an international student. So I've divided this interview into mainly three parts. Firstly, on your decision to study abroad. Secondly, on the college application process. And also, thirdly and lastly, on the college preparation that you've done these past few months leading up to your study abroad in Canada. So, starting off then with the first question, what motivated you to pursue higher education abroad, and why did you choose Canada as your destination?
Yeah, thank you, Vinata, for the question. For that part, I would think that abroad they have like better system in terms of education and also work or vocational areas in a way that I believe the curriculum there is somewhat more advanced. It is shown by them having like higher index in education rankings, but also if you look at the education grants, research, and also the governmental support for the research or competitions. I think there are more opportunities there. So I think it's if I have a chance to go abroad, it's always a nice option to take that. But secondly, why Canada? I think to specify, I'm taking commerce and or specifically, I'm heading to finance. One of the things that I'm interested in finance is investment banking. Comparatively to Indonesia, I think Canada has like a lot more leeway for investment banking prodigies to try, learn, and have a lot of opportunities to intern everywhere. Rather than Indonesia, whose investment banking sector is still emerging and still developing, in Canada they are way more advanced and have the sector for more longer. So I think that in Canada we also have less strict um, vocational or working permit regulations. Therefore, as an undergraduate who probably in 4 years will hopefully graduate, I think it's therefore easier for me to find work after my study has ended rather than in the UK or in the US. I think Canada brings more opportunities and more leniency for students like me.
Yeah. Well, now we know that Canada brings a lot of its benefits, but what were the main challenges that you faced when deciding to study in Canada, and how did you exactly overcome them?
So I think in Canada, I think the difference between Canada and other countries, probably in Asia, is that in most of North America and Europe, you need lots more activities rather than just good grades. I think like if comparatively you go to Singapore or Hong Kong, you would focus more into your grades at school, getting a 96, 95 average, and you'll go there. But the difference is if you go to the US or to the Canada, you need a lot of you need to be active in extracurriculars and clubs. And therefore, I think when I realized I wanted to go to Canada, i.e., when I was like in my first semester of 11th grade, I became more active in the debating club and also in the accounting and economics club, trying to volunteer in a lot of in some educational services, and also try to open my own business to show that I have what it takes to become a leader and to essentially develop my skills in leadership and also trying new things in business where I'm actually studying at. But then in my year, especially, I think Canada has changed one of the regulation in regarding on how many students can come into and study in their place. There was something we call a provincial attestation letter. It is like one of the extra requirements that exist in my year and which did not exist in the previous years. That letter specifically is like a provincial or let's say sub-state allocation for every, let's say, major cities to choose how many students they want to get in. So I think then even if I, for example, have been admitted by University of Toronto, for example, it does not automatically mean that I am allowed by the province to study there. So I think there's like an extra barrier for me to get into. But I think then if you complete all of the regulations and permits needed for them, i.e., for example, like your parents' banking records of the last 4 to 6 months, or like completing your ID on time, and also trying to register to the university, apply to them as early as possible. If you're in the early admissions, then I think that is what actually helped me to secure my spot, not only to the admission of the university, but also to be admitted by the province.
Okay. So in the first semester of 11th grade, you kind of already knew that you wanted to go to Canada. But then how did you exactly like research the university and programs there, and what factors influenced your choices?
I think firstly, my school Penabur did a very great job to provide a lot of edu fair and also festivals to like find information for universities. I think not only there were representatives from University of Toronto that came to the school, but there were also like educational services that wanted to help you to find information and also prepare for the school. But also other than that, I think a lot of YouTube videos would definitely help. I think searching on how other people who has got into the university, what did they do, researching on that, and basically kind of copying and doing your own style of those things will definitely make your CV stronger and also your essay better. I think a key part of that is to also like learn how to write essays. A lot of information are available online. You can buy books on that, or basically in social media. I think if you search the keyword of college essays into Harvard or college essays into Stanford, you will see a lot of very captivating stories that actually are very compelling for the recruitment officers to read. And when you try to really understand what the recruitment officers are looking for specifically, and then you can kind of target and tailor your essay to be that way for you to get accepted better. I think a lot of information are available online, but also it is way nicer if you also have like network of alumni that has already been getting into your university. For example, for Toronto, I have one person I contacted, namely Chi Rachel, and also I tried to find two other communities. So I found people who could help me, such as Ka Anna and also Chi Jasmine, who are already admitted at the University of Toronto. I think if you put some effort to find not only alumni from your school, but also people from your country who has gone there, I think they definitely would want to help you. And yeah, those are a big addition to your efforts.
Okay. Um, and I know that like the application process for Canada and also for like universities in the US and everything, they need you to have additional requirements like test scores and all of that. So how did you prepare for the additional tests?
So honestly, I think that is one of my weak points. What I'm saying is that to go abroad, such as Australia or UK, primarily UK, you would need an A level certificate, or to go to the US, you need SAT. The thing is, I did not, prepare well enough to take those tests, and in the end, I end up not taking those tests. Therefore, for University of Toronto, Canada especially, you don't really need those tests. The national curriculum is enough. Yeah, but if you are aiming for other places, such as if you want to go to UK, you really need to study A levels from now, from 11th grade of the first semester of it. But also, like if you want to go to countries who have specific languages, such as like Germany, Japanese, as Japan or China, you would definitely want to start learning the language as early as possible. Yeah, I think if you go to the websites of school or the Ministry of Education of each country, you would really find the requirements of language and the certificates. But I think then it differs from program to program. Some program, for example, in Japan, they are actually taught in English. You won't really need to learn Japanese that much. Yeah, but in the end, I think it's always better to learn the language because you need to communicate with people there who are not necessarily your lecturer or probably the locals or the aunties that you go to their kiosks or cafes. Yeah, it's always better to prepare and yeah, do it as early as possible. Know what you want to do during the years of your high school.
Okay. Then there are like the weak parts of your application that you just mentioned. But then what are the parts of your application that you think actually contributed a lot to your acceptance? And is there anything you would do differently?
Um, well, I think what helped me a lot, firstly, it's definitely my OSN and also like competitive economics track record. I think I devoted a lot of time in high school to go to competitions, and fortunately enough, with the support and help from the school and also of my friends and alumni, I snatched quite a few trophies, and those that I listed really resonated into my application. And since it is a well suited to my finance major, commerce, it really helped me to get into UofT and especially the Ottoman Commerce Business School. I think if the listeners, if you want to try fun competitions, I think it's of course the best for you to find which one actually contributes to your CV. For example, if you are looking for international relations, it's nice for you to do MUN. If you want to study law in law school, it's better for you to do debating competitions. If you on the other hand, for example, want to go to a music school, it's nice for you to join FLs, SN, or any other singing competitions. I think you really need to suit it well. But other than competition, I don't think like being competitive is the only thing that the university is looking at. I also think that they don't want a student who is hyper competitive, more than necessarily. They also want people who can lead and also be in a teamwork. Therefore, I think it's nice for you to join organizations. I'm not saying that you have to join OSIS, specifically, but you can also do like Pramuka, join Saka Bayangkara, or go to PEMER and become a part of their executive board, their BPH. Or even if you are joined commit into clubs, you go to the debating club, you can just you can apply to become an executive, or better at during my time, I was the president and director of the club, and therefore I could hone and train my leadership skills there in the debating club and also in the economics club. I think those kind of experience is what actually become your value proposition towards the recruitment officers, that not only tell them that you are competitive, not only that you're smart, but you're also a great team member and also a great leader for your friends. I think those are the things that you should focus on. But thirdly, I think they not only want like corporate people who can do teamwork leadership and also be smart, but they also want people who care about the environment, about their surroundings. So I think then they want someone who has the heart of an altruist. They want people who can give back to the society. And what I did was I volunteered in education organization, namely Tutorhead. It's one who delegated me to teach a lot some elementary school students. I teach them mathematics and English, and like my around 4 to 5 months of service, I think that's one of the part of my CV that actually told the recruiter that, oh, I'm not just a capitalistic corporate person, but I also care for my environment. Well, you don't really have to go into volunteering of education only. You can also participate in feminism movements in social media. And also, if you love the environment, you can try going to environmental campaigns. So I think those kind of stuff, those three key things: one, being able to compete, but also B, being a good team member and also leader, but also C, showing that you care about your environment and your surroundings. Those are the three things that you should prepare for your application.
Okay. And lastly, for our questions in this college application process part, did you apply for scholarships? And if so, can you share your experience and tips?
Okay. Yeah, I did. Well, I did apply scholarship specifically only for my um, University of Toronto. There's one application named the Person, that's the B Person Scholarship. I think that scholarship, if you get admitted into it, you're worthy. You would get like free tuition for the whole 4 years. Well, I tried that. The way you get that is you ask your school counselor, because the school need to promote one person to become their delegate. And fortunately enough, they entrusted me to become the representation of SMAK Penabur Serpong. Well, but yeah, unfortunately, because there's only 35 awardees every single year from the whole world, I did not make the cut. Um, but yeah, other than that, UofT is also quite generous in giving grants. I think for my application in University of Toronto in Scarborough, where I applied for statistics and quantitative finance, I was awarded 100,000 Canadian dollar scholarship. It was a lump sum that basically kind of auto debited your tuition fee. So yeah, they're pretty generous in terms of scholarship if you are going to research and going to um, you know subjects that are contributive to the society. But in other schools where I applied, I think in UBC, I think I got a 30,000 Canadian dollar scholarship. I think the best way for you to go for scholarship is just to apply them all. Whether you get it or not get it, it's problem of later on. But I think then it's always nice to not fixate your expectations, because sometimes people get scholarship that are valued more than yours. For example, a friend of mine get 135,000, where I only get 100,000. There's like 25% difference of it. Yeah, but either way, it's nice for you to always get a cut in your rate, right? It's like a burden alleviation for your parents and also for you. Um, a quick tip for doing that is make sure that you're active enough and you prove yourself to be worthy of that. I don't think universities would want to give scholarships to people who are lazy. So I think then what you want to do is make sure your essay is strong, your interview is persuasive. Make sure that you show them that your track record is good during your high school years. Tell them that, oh yeah, you can actually contribute to the society and not only benefit your scholarship for you, but also make sure that this scholarship that goes through you will help a lot of people out there, making you a great face of the university later on to become a scholar who contributes to society. I think that is how you effectively get a scholarship.
Okay, and now moving on to our last part then on like overall college preparation. After you got the acceptance letter, what steps did you take to prepare your move to Canada, such as like accommodation, visa, and also your finances?
Yeah. Firstly, I took care of my visa first, because I think out of everything, it's the one which takes the longest time, but also it is the prerequisite for every other applications. So I think a student visa would probably require you like 2 weeks up to 3 months of waiting time. So if they're busy, they might take three months. And well, I think back again to my point that it's always better for you to apply early. One of the benefits of that is that when you apply for a visa, the queue is empty. Like it's not that many people. But if you apply for university, like let's say on March, you get the acceptance letter on April, then you would literally queue like a very long line for your visa to come out. I think like student visa is nice if you apply early and get the decision early. And that's like the first part of everything. Secondly, you need to make sure that there are other records that you need to take. For example, when I go to Canada, I need my medical checkup. So I think then after I get my student visa accepted, I need to go to to a partner hospital to get myself checked up, make sure that I don't have like tuberculosis, make sure that my bones are there, not fractured and stuff. I think this has a lot of things to do with insurance and also their medical policies. They don't want to bring diseases there and spread a plague there. So just make sure you're healthy. But also, I think then you would want you would have to ask your parents for help for the finances because they need you to show a track record of their bank deposit. Make sure that there's like a sum of money, minimum money that is becoming the threshold of yeah, or that shows the admission officer that your parents definitely can finance your stay there rather than you becoming like a beggar or someone who cannot pay for even food or rent. After all of that is done, what you want to do is try to know who else from your country is going there. Sometimes your parents are, working and they can't always accompany you to fly there. So I think if you're going abroad, you would want to know a friend who might become your best friend later on. But at the very least, you go there together. So if you get lost, you get lost together and you don't panic that hard. Yeah, but at least you are completing each other. You have a friend from Indonesia who talks Indonesian. So I think even if you go far away, such as like to Belgium, at least if you're lost in Belgium, you still have an Indonesian friend who can help and speak to you, right? It's always nice to find communities and always nice to find like peer groups there who are coming from the same nationality. After that process, I think it would always be nice to find a ticket, flight ticket as early as possible. Because I think then if you wait too long, there might be like up to 20 million of difference of the flight price. If you book early on, the price is low, you might save a lot of money for you to buy a brand new laptop. So I think that's also nice. But lastly, you would want to see the accommodation that you get, right? Sometimes you apply for housing for student residence and you get in-campus housing, which is nice, and they already prepare everything for you. But let's say you don't want to live there and, with your friends, you want to live in an apartment outside of the campus. You would definitely want to see like what kind of area that is, whether that is like safe or is the crime rate high there. Is there supermarkets nearby? Because like in places where there is winter, like in my place, I would want to ensure that there are supermarkets in my building. I don't want to cross the street in snowy blizzards to just buy snacks or whatever, right? You want to make sure that the food in your cafeteria area is nice, or at least there are restaurants near your near your residence where you don't really need to walk that far, but also like see the transportation system. If you're lucky enough to be like in Singapore or in Canada or UK, where there are like trains, subways every single corner of the street, you can always take the underground, and take the tram. So in winter, it doesn't really become a problem. But if you study elsewhere, like in the US, you don't have that much like train or subways. You would really need a car. Then you would try to rent something there. Or if you live in like if you study in the Netherlands, you would probably find a bicycle because everyone commutes to the bicycle. I think that becomes one of the main focus of yours. Lastly, I think on sanitation, I think like food are something that is you can't ask for a different kind of foods there, but sanitation you can prepare. For example, if you are going to, let's say, Hong Kong or Canada, who doesn't use bidets, it would always be nice for you to buy bidets here, the portable bidet, and bring it there. Because I think like our habits of sanitation is just different. They don't use bidets. We use bidets. So I think like we will feel cleaner if we bring it there. And those kind of things that they're not used to are products that we don't sell there. So you really need to bring it from here. Yeah. So I think those are the considerations that you need to prepare after you get your admission.
Okay, I think that's already very solid and enough advice for students who will like start their study abroad journey in terms of packing and preparation. But lastly, so our viewers can leave with a tangible action plan, can you describe the timeline that you followed for your applications? In what months of what grade did you start researching, taking tests, and also like submitting applications?
Okay. I think my research started since like 10th grade, second semester. I think that's like when you are exposed like to your upper your seniors edu fair. So you can get a sneak peek into it and see what it is like. And I think from that time on, I already decided that, oh, I either wanted to go to the UK or to the Canada. So I think I started a lot of preparations there. But I think even like albeit preparing early, I still missed out on A levels. So yeah, you can never prepare too much. There must be something missing. But also then, my application, as you know, my early application, I did that in my September, yeah, September of 2023. So I think it's my like first semester of 12th grade. I think it's especially early because other schools they apply in like in January or February, some in November, December, mine is early in September. So I think like if you are doing A levels, you would want to do A levels on May, June rather than like the other dates. You want to do it early. Well, I didn't take it, so yeah, no problem for me. Um, but I think like for the timeline, the moment that you know that your university requires something, i.e., like HSK, Chinese proficiency test, or IELTS, or A levels, or SAT, that is the perfect time for you to start learning because you can never prepare too much, right? You will always like lose out on some things. So whenever you find that, you start it. That is exactly why from my 11th grade of my first semester, I've already made myself active in the clubs of like accounting, economics, and also debating because I know my university application will definitely appreciate those kind of activities. Um, yeah, but if you want to ask about the specific dates, I think I started on in July, probably July 2020. Well, that's one whole year before my application. So I think I had one whole year to be active in the clubs and also to participate in competitions. To try get into volunteering, and also a lot of activities that shows that I'm active and not only a student who studies in their room. Um, yeah, but other than that, I don't think there is like any specific timeline or you have to follow because every single university have a different submission date. You might want to check it because some of my friends do it like later on in October or November. So you really want to see the dates of submission. But yeah, if you want to research it now because you know who knows that you started researching on November, but the early admission is in September. You might miss out on that. So I think now, if you are watching this video after the video ends, please check the details of your university application. You really want to see what it takes and also when you need to submit all of those documents for your application.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing your insights. Before we officially end this interview, is there anything else you'd like to add?
If any of you need some help in essays or any questions, especially regarding going to Canada or University of Toronto, feel free to reach out to me, to my Instagram, send me a DM to Darius Jonathan Teng. That is my Instagram, just my full name. I will help. I will try my best to help your application and um, to entertain your questions. Good luck, everyone.
Okay, so with that, we've reached the end of the interview. We do hope that it is helpful for everyone and that it can help you in this very stressful process. And yeah, thank you, Codarius, for your time and for all the insights. So we'll end this interview now.
Thank you. Bye
Yeah.
bye.
If you have any questions or want to share your own study abroad experience, feel free to leave a comment down below. That's all for today, and I'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye and God bless you.